social media infused television world. Could you describe the pitch session when you sit down and you say, here's a great idea for a show, well, what about these new aspects? How big a part of the pitch process is that now?
It's a wonderful question. I'd watch the tone a little bit.
You know, as I mentioned, I personally don't work in the development department, so I personally don't hear pitches for a living. But common sense would dictate, and also my peers tell me, that when one goes to a network development person and they sit there and they come up with the idea and the story and the arc and who they think the stars and the plots, one would imagine, and again, we all know that this happens, there's also a digital play. Oh, and you think this is good? And then listen to this. The next morning, we're on digital, and we're going behind the scenes, and we're doing this, and then there's another thing, and there's behind the scenes. I mean, like, someone brought up HBO. I mean, I remember even just, you go to Sopranos, then you go to HBO.com, click on Sopranos, and you could be reading the backstory. So they've got writers for the show, and then they've got story writers for the backstory, talking about the family tree from 10 years ago. So that's part of the development process, obviously. And also, like, I think I was watching, NBC has like a fashion star, or one of these American Idols for fashion, or whatever it's called. And so I guess, how does it work? It's sponsored by like Macy's, H&M, and all that. So you're watching the girl in the dress and the thing, and she does the what, and then it comes up, the Chiron comes up, the graphic comes up and says, oh, you like that dress? Go to Macy's, go to Fashion Star or NBC./Macy's and buy the dress.
It's available tomorrow.
Right. So A, rev streams. And B, I'm sure, that whole philosophy was part of the pitch process. When
Absolutely, that's actually a perfect example. Yeah,
well, I think it's mandatory you have a digital pitch, only to protect yourself within those rights, but also to monetize it to yourself within those rights. If you do not, you're letting go of probably the most important element of the show evolution, and the ability for that show to grow across all the platforms and all the media sourcing and backstories, etc. That if you don't, and I don't think I've seen a pitch lately that does not have one, and in most cases it's delivered digitally as well.
And the marketing department now drives the majority of content for the studios, the networks, or whoever. So if you go in and part of your pitch is to help the buyer understand how you're going to make it easier for them to market it, that's the other advantage of coming in with that angle.
Yeah, earlier, Leo asked me if .com or digital is still a marketing tool. So I'll See You and Raise You on this Fashion Star show. Not only is it not a marketing tool anymore like it once was, where 8 years ago the .com sale was just added value. Right. Oh, I'll buy this show, but I expect you to give me the .com for free. So not only is not that, but as the Fashion Star thing, now digital is helping to fund the linear. Right. So it says perhaps it's gone 360. Maybe it's a different panel. But maybe it's gone 360.
That's also a response to the fact that interstitial ads may not work as well anymore. You've got to do something else.
All right, great question. Last question of the night. Ma'am, what is your question?
I want to know how you are thinking about integrating the Google Plus experience into your social media plans.
It's probably for Yamaha.
Yeah. This is for Yamaha.
We're out of here.
Just a good question. Yeah, I think at this point we're still filling it out. We do have a general just kind of corporate presence there, and the little bit of kind of back to the testing and connecting things and looking at the data as best as we can. So far, we haven't seen compelling enough reason to shift a ton of resources there. Yeah. So I mean, hopefully, without getting into too much more there, we're seeing great success in being able to prove much easier in other social channels. And frankly, at this point, I would just throw out as a bit of an aside that I think we're seeing more possibilities with Pinterest than we would with Google in the brand space.
Interesting.
So.
Yeah. But right now it's Twitter and Facebook. Maybe a little
almost,
Pinterest.
Almost entirely.
Or the $1 billion Instagram.
I'll take a picture of your sandwich.
12 employees, by the way.
Yeah, seriously.
All right, well, guys, I can't thank you enough.
Yes, you can.
Try Cast.
You can start right now in front of all these people.
Yes. Thanks so Bill Chapman, Turner, Jeff Jacobs from MTV,
Help me fund my 850 to 855
and
upgrade.
Kevin Pollock. Let's hear it for our Broadcast Minds panelists.
I need the 855 upgrade if you can buy his Philip Nelson CD.
I would also like to remind you guys that this is an annual event, so mark it on your calendar, the Tuesday of NAB next year.